Every prophecy God planted in your journey carries a timetable. Some were meant to rise earlier. Some were ordained to manifest already. Some were written as part of your spiritual calendar, yet they remain suspended like unfinished sentences in the invisible realm. And tonight, every one of those hanging words will answer its season. There are prophecies that sit above a life like clouds, heavy with rain. You feel their weight. You sense their nearness. You know they belong to you. Yet something has kept them hovering without breaking open. These are not lost prophecies. They are delayed prophecies. They are living realities waiting for authorization to touch the earth. And here, under the mercy of God, those delays expire. Every unfinished chapter in your destiny that should have been completed before now is being pushed into manifestation. Nothing that belongs to you will remain locked in the realm of potential. Nothing that was declared in righteousness will stay in waiting. Life responds when the right voice touches the right moment. And this is that moment. Heaven is aligning with the sound of your faith. There are blessings assigned to your family that have not landed. There are breakthroughs tied to your name that have not yet been delivered. There are encounters that were designed to shape your direction, but were pushed into the shadows by pressure, fear, or forces that rose against you. Tonight, those shadows lift. No prophecy with your name on it will remain hanging. Not one. Every divine instruction woven into your destiny comes with a corresponding outcome. Every promise carries a pathway. Every vision carries a fulfillment. But sometimes the execution is held up by spiritual traffic. Sometimes the release is slowed by unseen opposition that does not want the will of God to be done. When such resistance rises, a voice with authority must rise higher. That is where the shift begins. Prophecies do not fail, but people can be delayed. Atmospheres can be manipulated. Timings can be interfered with. Patterns can resist progress. Yet when the spiritual womb is commanded to release, when the invisible gates respond to pressure, when heaven authorizes movement, what has been held must come forth. And in this moment, what has been held must come forth for you. Every instruction you obeyed, every seed you sowed, every night you prayed, every step you took in secret faith, nothing has been ignored. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been overlooked. The God who keeps record has kept your record. And now the harvest tied to your obedience begins to surface. The manifestation tied to your persistence begins to rise. The answers tied to your endurance begin to break open. December is not the closing of your year. December is a spiritual womb. It carries the final release of everything that stayed pending. It carries the final gathering of blessings that were still in transit. It carries the final push of what you were ordained to see before the gates of a new year open. December responds to faith. December bows to spiritual decree. December releases what belongs to those who know its power. The delays around your destiny have reached their limit. The forces that kept your prophecy waiting can no longer hold their position. The spiritual barriers that kept answers suspended lose their grip. By the alignment of heaven and the weight of divine order, the realm of the spirit opens its hand over you. What was held back is released. What was slowed down is accelerated. What was resisted is authorized. Everything that should have entered your life earlier in this year but was pushed to the side begins to return with strength. Everything that was stolen from your family line begins to reappear in multiplied form. Everything that was promised in prayer but did not manifest begins to arrive with clarity. You are stepping into the release ordained for December, and no hand can shut what God has opened. The helpers who were meant to locate you but were diverted, The opportunities that were meant to align but were resisted. The answers that were meant to settle you but were delayed. Every one of them is being recalled. Every one of them is being pushed back onto your path. Every one of them is being assigned afresh to find you without error. There are prophetic outcomes that were written into your destiny long before you face the battles of this year. These outcomes were designed to unfold in due season. These outcomes were structured to meet you before the year closes. And now, by the weight of divine alignment, these outcomes begin to surface. Hidden answers rise. Silent prophecies awaken. Dormant blessings come alive. Nothing that belongs to your December will be stolen. Nothing that was ordained for your rising will remain withheld. Nothing that heaven wrote concerning you will be buried under the pressure of delay. Your prophecy is not lost. Your prophecy is not forgotten. Your prophecy is not denied. Your prophecy is simply being released into your hands in its appointed time. And this is that time. Every hanging word, every delayed promise, every suspended blessing, every detained helper, every resisted breakthrough, every slowed manifestation, every one of them responds to divine release now. December opens, the gates shift, the spiritual womb pushes, and what belongs to you begins to find its way home. There are battles you did not start, yet they rise against you with the confidence of ancient voices. Some cycles began before you were born. Some patterns were established long before your name entered this world. And yet, you find yourself wrestling with weights that were never yours in the first place. This is why certain delays do not make sense. They are older than your decisions. They are older than your mistakes. They are older than your journey. Every destiny carries a history. Some histories carry invisible agreements. Some family lines were marked by cycles of delay that quietly transfer from one generation to the next. Patterns of rising and falling. Patterns of almost reaching breakthroughs but slipping back at the edge. Patterns of being seen but never chosen. Patterns of opportunities coming close but never settling. These are not random. These are systems rooted in old altars. There are families where progress has a ceiling. No matter how hard you fight, the ceiling responds. No matter how gifted you are, the ceiling answers. It is not that you are not capable. It is not that you are not anointed. It is not that you are not diligent. It is simply that something ancient rises as a witness against forward movement. And tonight, that witness loses its power. Life can carry invisible threads that tie destinies backward. You can pray, you can walk, you can sacrifice, but if those threads remain unbroken, the journey feels harder than it should be. Not because God is silent, but because something else is speaking, something else is resisting, something else is whispering claims no longer has the right to make. And this is the season where those claims are withdrawn. There are patterns in families where joy does not last. Patterns where good news has a short lifespan. Patterns where breakthroughs arrive with battles strong enough to cancel them. Patterns where people rise only to fall again. Some of you know this too well. You have seen doors open, but you have also watched those doors close with no explanation. You have climbed only to find yourself back at the bottom. You have built only to see what you built scattered by unseen winds. And here is the truth many never understand. Some battles cannot be won with effort. They must be won with revelation. Some mountains do not move because you push harder. They move because a deeper authority steps in, because the roots of the battle are not physical. The roots were planted spiritually. To break such patterns, the sword must enter the root, not the branches, not the symptoms, The root. There are forces that specialize in making destiny helpers forget. Forces that ensure your name is not mentioned in the room where decisions are made. Forces that cause the right people to walk past you as if you are invisible. Forces that interrupt alignment at the precise moment your breakthrough draws close. This is not coincidence. This is interference. And tonight, interference breaks. Some of you have felt this resistance your whole life. Every advancement requires a level of energy that drains you. Every small progression feels like a war. It is not because you are weak. It is because something beyond the natural opposes movement. But that opposition is losing its voice. The patterns that held your family are losing their grip. The cycles that enforce delay are losing their power. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something. Be honest with yourself. In your own journey, have you seen these patterns? Have you felt the invisible pushback when you were about to rise? Have you watched opportunities slip at the very moment they were meant to settle? Have you discerned that some of your delays made no sense at all? If what you are hearing speaks to something real inside you, comment "I am ready," or simply comment the number one: your presence matters. Your desire to change matters. Your voice matters. And for a content creator standing here giving everything to deliver these words, knowing you are here, awake and ready, is more valuable than you can imagine. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being part of this journey. Now hear this clearly. Every demonic claim over your progress is revoked. Every ancestral pattern that delays your rising is shattered. Every cycle that insists on repeating itself breaks permanently. Every voice from your foundation that argues against your advancement is silenced. Every timeline of delay is torn. Every altar that feeds stagnation loses its power. Every inherited limitation is overwritten by the authority of divine alignment. You were not born to continue the battles of those who came before you. You were called to end them. You were not born to repeat the patterns of your family line. You were called to break them. You were not born to inherit delay. You were called to terminate delay. You were not born to carry their fear. You were called to establish a new lineage of boldness. You are the interruption to the old pattern. You are the beginning of the new pattern. The weight that sat on your shoulders lifts. The cycles that sat on your family collapse. The invisible ceilings crack. The doors that resisted open. The forces that delayed alignment scatter. The battles that never belonged to you lose their legal ground. And tonight, your destiny steps out of every ancient shadow and into the light ordained for it. Nothing from your past will dictate your forward motion. Nothing from your foundation will drag your potential backward. Nothing from your ancestry will write your tomorrow. You are stepping out of the old system. You are stepping into the ordained path. You are stepping into speed. You are stepping into clarity. You are stepping into divine timing. And every demonic root standing against you breaks completely. There are moments in life when your value is real. Your gift is genuine. Your capacity is proven. Yet those who should see you walk past without recognition, not because you are unworthy, not because you lack skill, but because something invisible stands between you and the eyes assigned to acknowledge you. That something is a veil, silent, subtle, strategic, a spiritual covering that distorts perception and hides a person from the very helper sent to lift them. This veil does not make you small. It makes you unseen. It does not reduce your potential. It blinds the people meant to honor it. It does not remove your opportunities. It simply prevents the right eyes from recognizing them. So you walk and your effort seems unnoticed. You rise, but visibility does not rise with you. You carry excellence, but others do not perceive its weight, not because they are blind in the natural, but because something covers the spiritual signal your life should emit. There are people who carry answers for rooms they never enter. People who carry solutions for problems they are never called to solve. People whose names should be mentioned in the moments that matter. But the moment arrives and their name is forgotten, not because they are unqualified, but because the veil stands tall, a veil that confuses perception, a veil that delays honor, a veil that hides greatness behind shadows. When a veil rests on a person, doors that should open remain closed. Helpers who should locate them pass as if they walked a different direction. Achievements that should attract celebration instead attract silence. Goodness that should produce favor ends in nothing. And destiny connections designed to bring elevation drift past without impact. This veil is not just a covering. It is a barrier between visibility and relevance. There are destinies that shine in private but disappear in public. There are gifts that flourish in secret but evaporate the moment. Exposure should lift them. There are people who speak wisdom in small circles yet become voiceless when larger platforms appear. These are the effects of a veil. A person looks present, but the world sees absence. A person carries weight, but the world senses nothing. Yet you must hear this clearly. No veil has the authority to outlive divine timing. When heaven decides to reveal a destiny, everything hiding that destiny loses power instantly. When God declares that your season of visibility has come, the covering melts, the shadows scatter, and the people assigned to you begin to recognize your presence without confusion. What resisted you becomes powerless. What delayed you becomes irrelevant. Honor is not random. Honor is spiritual. Honor is a response to recognition. People honor what they see, and when they cannot see you clearly, honor cannot flow. But when the veil tears, perception changes. Those who walk past you begin to notice. Those who ignored you begin to feel drawn. Those who did not understand you begin to value what you carry. Honor begins to flow naturally because the eyes meant to see you finally see without distortion. Every destiny helper is guided by divine prompting. Yet even divine prompting is resisted when a veil is present. Helpers feel a nudge to look your way, but the veil diverts their attention. They feel stirred to support you, but something dulls their sensitivity. They feel the desire to connect, but something pulls them in another direction. When the veil tears, all these diversions break. Alignments that were scattered begin to regroup. Hearts that were dull awaken. Helpers that were confused gain clarity. Your destiny was not designed to be a private journey. There are people ordained to hold your hands. People ordained to speak your name in the right rooms. People ordained to open doors your strength cannot open. People ordained to carry you into heights your effort cannot reach alone. But for these people to function, visibility must be restored. For visibility to be restored, the veil must tear. Some veils form through battles of the past, some through words spoken in pain, some through spiritual contention, some through cycles of rejection that shaped your perception. But no matter where it came from, its time ends here. You were not created to be hidden. You were not designed to be overlooked. You were not destined to walk silently in circles that should have celebrated you. This is the moment the covering breaks. There will be a shift in the atmosphere around your life, not by force, not by manipulation, but by clarity. People who once resisted will feel drawn without explanation. People who once dismissed your ideas will lean in to listen. People who once overlooked your presence will recognize your significance. And those assigned to help you rise will feel an urgency that cannot be ignored. When a veil tears, relationships align with purpose. When a veil tears, opportunities locate the right vessel. When a veil tears, honor returns to its rightful place. When a veil tears, destiny helpers see with full clarity. And when clarity comes, doors that were shut without reason begin to open without struggle. Your influence will not remain muffled. Your gift will not remain hidden. Your identity will not remain blurred. The season of invisibility ends the moment the veil breaks. The weight of who you truly are rises above every shadow, and every helper assigned to your journey begins to recognize the signal of your destiny. You are stepping into a realm where honor meets you naturally, where visibility becomes effortless, where helpers locate you with precision, where the conversations that matter include your name, where those who carry your next level find you without confusion. No veil will block your path. No covering will hide your presence. No shadow will dim your identity. The gates of visibility open. The mantle of honor rises. And every helper assigned to your elevation gains clear sight of who you are. There are wounds that never made it into words, yet they shape the way a person breathes. Pain that was never spoken, yet it sits beneath the ribs like a quiet weight. Some of the deepest battles are not visible to any eye, not even to those who walk closest to you. And it is often these silent places, the ones no one enters, that carry the heaviest burdens. Life leaves marks. Some are caused by people, some by seasons, some by disappointments that hit harder than expected, some by endings that arrive too early, some by betrayals that cut deeper than you allow yourself to admit. You learned how to keep moving, but you also learned how to bury hurt so well that even you stop noticing where you hid it. Yet no buried wound heals by itself. Time does not fix everything. Silence does not repair everything. Strength does not erase everything. There are aches that remain alive under the surface, shaping choices, shaping reactions, shaping trust. You move forward, but something inside you stays untouched. You grow, but something remains tender. You smile, but something stays bruised. The soul remembers what the mind tries to forget. The heart remembers what you never talk about. When loss touches a person, it does not only take something from the outside, it reaches for the inside, places normally protected, and leaves impressions that feel permanent. Some of you have carried the echo of old losses into new seasons. You build new chapters, but the grief of past ones travels with you. Uninvited yet still present, there is pain that forms in layers. The pain of being misunderstood, the pain of being replaced, the pain of giving your best and receiving distance in return, the pain of trusting someone who did not value what you offered, the pain of showing up for people who never showed up for you. These wounds do not bleed outward, they bleed inward, quietly, consistently, invisibly. Some wounds were caused by moments that seemed small to others but broke something inside you. A sentence spoken at the wrong time, a rejection that felt too personal, a door closed without reason, a responsibility placed on your shoulders before you were ready. Each one leaves a mark. Each mark asks for healing. Yet most people learn to hide instead of heal. There are seasons where you feel the ache of everything you never said. You feel the pressure of emotions never released. You feel the weight of memories never resolved. Sometimes you do not even know why your heart feels heavy. You only know something inside you has been carrying far more than it was meant to carry. But hear this clearly. Hidden wounds are not forgotten by God. Silence does not make your pain invisible to Him. He sees the places even you avoid. He sees the tears that never reach your eyes. He sees the battles you fought without language. He sees the nights where you could not explain your own emotions. Nothing in you is unnoticed. Nothing in you is ignored. When the balm in Gilead touches a life, it does not start with the visible surface. It begins beneath the skin. It enters the inner places where words cannot reach. It reaches the memories you buried. It reaches the fears you hid. It reaches the shame you carried quietly. It reaches the disappointments you stopped talking about. Healing enters deep before it enters wide. This balm does not rush. It restores with precision. It reveals without wounding. It softens what became hardened by survival. It pulls out what you pushed down for years. It repairs places you thought were beyond repair. It breathes life into areas you believed were permanently numb. There are hearts that have been bleeding long after the situation ended. There are emotions trapped in moments you never revisited. There are pieces of your soul still sitting in places you left behind. The balm in Gilead gathers these pieces. It returns what was lost inside you. It recovers the parts of your identity that pain tried to steal. You are not weak because you hurt. You are not broken because you feel deeply. You are not failing because certain memories still sting. The presence of pain is not the absence of strength. It is simply the sign that something inside you needs care, not suppression. Every hidden wound reacts when healing begins. You may feel emotions rise unexpectedly. You may remember things you forgot. You may sense a stirring in areas you thought were gone. This is not regression. This is restoration. Healing touches what pain tried to silence. Restoration awakens what disappointment tried to bury. The balm in Gilead does not only heal hurt, it also restores hope. Loss often steals more than what was taken. It steals expectation. It steals courage to believe again. It steals the freedom to trust again. It steals the confidence to open your heart again. True healing restores all of this. It does not leave you surviving. It returns you to living. You do not heal by pretending nothing happened. You heal by allowing God to step into the places you avoid. You heal by letting Him hold the pieces you dropped in the journey. You heal by letting the one who sees the deepest part of you become the one who restores it. Your pain will not define your future. Your wounds will not stay open forever. The grief you carried will not drown your capacity to rise. The loss you endured will not have the final word. Every silent ache, every hidden bruise, every quiet tear is being touched by the balm in Gilead. You are being made whole from the inside out. You are being restored where no one saw you break. You are being strengthened where no one saw you weaken. You are being lifted where no one knew you had fallen. And the places that once felt fragile will become the evidence of a healing so deep that nothing can steal it again. There are moments when your spirit sees what your hands have not yet touched. Moments when your inner vision is clearer than your physical reality. You sense breakthroughs moving toward you. You feel answers drawing near. You perceive alignment forming in the invisible. Yet when you look around, nothing matches what your spirit already knows. This tension between revelation and manifestation is one of the deepest tests of faith. Seeing in the spirit is not imagination. It is not wishful thinking. It is not emotional desire. It is the function of a heart tuned to the frequency of divine intention. You sense what God has already released. You feel the shape of a blessing long before it becomes visible. Sometimes you even dream it. Sometimes it flashes across your mind with unusual clarity. Sometimes you simply know, without explanation, that something has shifted. But here is where many grow weary. They expect that what they saw inside will appear outside immediately. They assume that spiritual sight is the final step, yet revelation is the beginning of manifestation. is not the end. What you see in the spirit must be drawn into the natural. And the distance between seeing and holding often becomes the battlefield where doubt tries to speak louder than truth. There are people right now who have seen restoration long before it arrived. Some have seen open doors while still standing in closed hallways. Some have seen their rising even while walking through seasons that felt like decline. Some have seen new beginnings while still surrounded by endings. The vision was real, but the timing confused them. The promise was clear, but the process unsettled them. Yet every genuine spiritual sight carries weight. It follows you. It speaks to you. It anchors you in seasons that would otherwise break you. And the reason it stays alive in your heart is because it was never a passing thought. It was a divine signal of what is coming. A preview of the future designed to strengthen your present. What you saw in prayer was not a fantasy. What you felt during worship was not a fleeting emotion. What you discerned in your spirit was not an illusion. These were confirmations of things prepared for you. They were glimpses of your ordained path. They were divine invitations to expect more than what your surroundings suggest. For someone listening, your frustration did not come from lack of faith. It came from the contradiction between what you sensed and what you saw with natural eyes. You wondered if you misheard. You wondered if you misinterpreted. You wondered if you exaggerated what God placed in your heart. You wondered if you expected too much. But the truth is simple. Your spirit was ahead because your destiny was calling. When heaven reveals something to a person, the revelation becomes a seed, and seeds do not look like their final form. The seed of a house does not look like a house. The seed of influence does not look like influence. The seed of breakthrough rarely looks like breakthrough. But if God showed it to your spirit, then the seed is present and the seed will grow. Some of you have seen pictures of provision while still counting your last resources. Some have seen themselves healed while their bodies still respond to weakness. Some have seen reconciliation while relationships remain silent. Some have seen joy while still drying quiet tears. Yet the vision remains because the vision is true. This is where the shift happens. You are moving from seeing in the spirit to handling with your hands. The season when what you sensed becomes what you touch. When what you prayed becomes what you hold. When what you believed becomes what you step into. Manifestation is not far. It is already approaching. It is already forming. It is already aligning. The invisible is simply finishing its last assignments before rising into the visible. Let me ask you something gently. Right here, are you still with me in this journey from revelation to manifestation? If you are still here, if you are still listening with faith alive in you, let me feel your presence with a like. Only one simple action, nothing more. Your engagement tells me you value this moment. And for a creator pouring heart and voice into every line, it means far more than you know. When manifestation arrives, it never arrives quietly. It shifts the atmosphere around your life. It turns what you once hoped for into what you now testify about. It transforms the image in your spirit into the reality in your hands. And that shift always begins with alignment. Alignment in timing, alignment in relationships, alignment in inner strength, alignment in opportunity. You will not only see, you will handle. You will not only dream, you will receive. You will not only hope, you will enter. The season where you survive on visions is ending. The season where you hold answers is beginning. The gap between revelation and manifestation is closing. The promises that floated in the spirit will settle in your hands. There is no delay powerful enough to stop what God has ordained for you. No resistance strong enough to halt a destiny already activated. No contradiction loud enough to silence what heaven has spoken. What you saw is real. What you sensed is valid. What you discerned was accurate. And now the translation from the unseen to the seen begins. Your hands will handle what your spirit saw. Your path will meet what your faith expected. Your life will reflect what heaven revealed. And every silent assurance God placed in your heart will rise as a manifested testimony. There are experiences in life that stain the memory. Moments where you stood alone and no one understood what broke inside you. Seasons where people misread you, I judged you, or walked away without knowing the full story. Times when you gave more than you received, trusted more than you should, and endured more than anyone knew. Shame is not always loud. Sometimes it hides behind polite smiles and quiet endurance. Sometimes it hides behind your strength. But every hidden piece of shame carries a spiritual weight. And tonight that weight loses its authority over your destiny. Shame attaches itself to moments where you were misunderstood. It attaches to conversations that wounded your confidence. It attaches to failures that embarrassed you more than you could admit. It attaches to losses that made you question your worth. Some of you carry memories that still sting even after years have passed. Not because you have not grown, but because certain wounds leave impressions that time alone cannot erase. There are people who carry shame connected to financial struggles. Shame connected to seasons where you could not provide the way you desired. Shame connected to decisions you regret. Shame connected to relationships that broke under pressure. Shame connected to doors that refuse to open. And every time you remember those situations, you feel a quiet shadow pass over your heart. Yet what you forget is that shame is not a permanent sentence. It is a temporary mark waiting for redemption. Every month of this year carried moments that tested you. January brought battles you did not expect. February exposed weaknesses you thought you had overcome. March revealed gaps you tried to hide. April took more strength than you admitted. May demanded patience that stretched you thin. June confronted old fears. July required endurance. August brought sudden changes. September tested your hope. October pushed your limits. November highlighted what still felt unfinished. Even December carried pressure that made you wonder if the year had given you more struggle than victory. But hear this with clarity. Not one month will end as a loss. Every month you thought broke, you will rise as a witness of restoration. Every month that wounded you will now testify of recovery. Every month that exposed your vulnerability will now reveal your strength. Nothing is wasted when God begins to redeem time. Every tear becomes evidence. Every delay becomes material. Every disappointment becomes a seed. And when redemption comes, it does not return what you lost in equal measure. It returns double. Double for the moments you were overlooked. Double for the times you carried responsibility alone. Double for the months where nothing seemed to move. Double for the battles that drained your faith. Double for the quiet nights when you wondered if anyone saw your effort. Double for every time you felt inferior, unseen, or undervalued. Shame will not have the final voice. Redemption carries a louder sound. There are people who walked through humiliation this year. People who endured criticism they did not deserve. People who faced setbacks that made them feel small. People who watched others rise while they stayed in the shadows. People who held on to faith while watching results delay. These experiences attempt to write shame into the story. But the moment redemption enters, the handwriting changes, your narrative shifts, your identity rises. The months that try to silence you will be the months that announce you. Redemption does not erase the past. It rewrites its meaning. It takes what once looked like defeat and turns it into the pathway that shaped your maturity. It takes what once looked like wasted time and reveals the preparation hidden in the waiting. It takes what once looked like embarrassment and transforms it into a testimony that carries power. Shame loses its sting the moment purpose is revealed. Your journey this year has been more spiritual than you know. Some of the pain you felt was not punishment, it was pruning. Some of the losses were not abandonment, they were alignment. Some of the delays were not denial, they were protection. And when God begins to redeem the months, He does not return you to where you were. He lifts you far above where you would have been if the process had never happened. Double is not a poetic expression, it is a spiritual principle. When shame is broken, honor must replace it. When time is redeemed, results must accelerate. When the months are restored, testimonies must multiply. You are not entering a season where you recover small pieces. You are entering a season where you receive in overflowing measure. The months that felt empty will become months of abundance. The moments that felt painful will become moments of proof. Some of you will see restoration in relationships that seem permanently damaged. Some will see unexpected provision that covers the losses of the entire year. Some will see open doors that compress months of waiting into days of progress. Some will see healing in areas you quietly stopped hoping for. And for many, the weight of shame will lift so completely that you will look back and barely recognize the person who carried it. Every month under the sound of this blessing stands before the presence of God for redemption. January returns with honor. February returns with peace. March returns with clarity. April returns with strength. May returns with increase. June returns with wisdom. July returns with open doors. August returns with new alignment. September returns with speed. October returns with favor. November returns with restoration. December returns with multiplied reward. Nothing you walk through will end in shame. Nothing you endured will define you. Nothing you lost will stay lost. The months that seemed empty will pour double. The pain that shaped you will produce elevation. The quiet struggles you faced will become the loud testimonies of the year to come. Redemption is already moving toward you. Honor is rising. Shame is falling. And every month of your life submits to the decree that your ending will be greater than your beginning. Financial pressure is one of the quietest but heaviest battles a person can carry. It affects decisions, affects confidence, affects sleep, affects relationships, and shapes the way a person sees their own future. Many of the concerns that drained your strength this year did not come from lack of faith. They came from the weight of insufficiency, not enough resources, not enough margin, not enough options. And when resources are limited, stress increases, opportunities shrink, and hope becomes harder to hold. Money is not everything, but financial stability removes many unnecessary battles. Some of the struggles that troubled your mind had nothing to do with destiny. They were simply the weight of limited provision, house issues that required funding, delays caused by lack of capital, responsibilities that stretched beyond your capacity, projects that could not move because the resources were not there. These pressures do not reflect lack of intelligence or lack of grace. They reveal that provision is a spiritual system, and when the system is interrupted, life becomes harder than it should be. Financial deliverance begins with clarity. Many people do not lack opportunities, they lack alignment. Some keep pouring into holes that never fill. Some work tirelessly yet see no progress because something silently opposes increase. Some attract resources, but the resources disappear without explanation. This is not always mismanagement. Sometimes it is spiritual leakage, a pattern that drains finances before they can build a foundation. And when such patterns exist, effort alone cannot fix them. There are people who earn well yet remain empty. People who work hard yet always return to zero. People who try to save but face unexpected trouble each time money begins to gather. These cycles are not random. Something interferes with stability. Something interrupts the flow of provision. Something challenges every attempt to rise financially, and until that cycle is broken, increase remains fragile. But tonight the cycle breaks. The resistance lifts. The invisible drain is closed. The hands that gather will not scatter. The mind that plans will not be frustrated. The resources that enter your life will not evaporate. The pattern that fought your stability reaches its limit. And the season where you fear tomorrow because of what happened yesterday comes to an end. Financial deliverance is more than receiving money. It is the removal of hindrances that keep you small. It is the breaking of cycles that consume increase. It is the restoration of confidence to step into opportunities without fear. It is the wisdom to make decisions that secure your future. And it is the divine favor that positions you where provision flows naturally. Wisdom is a pillar in financial freedom. Increase without wisdom leads to loss. Opportunity without structure leads to confusion. Doors without strategy lead to disappointment. Wisdom teaches you how to manage provision, how to invest with discernment, how to prioritize with clarity, how to recognize profitable opportunities from dangerous ones. Many people are not suffering from lack of potential. They are suffering from lack of instruction. And when divine wisdom enters, everything begins to shift. There are ideas inside you that carry financial potential greater than anything you have touched so far. There are gifts you have overlooked because you thought they were ordinary. There are skills you considered small, yet they hold the key to streams of income you have not explored. Wisdom illuminates these areas. It shows you what to activate. It guides you toward the doors that match your grace. It separates noise from opportunity. Yet beyond wisdom, there is a dimension of financial surprise that only God can produce. Surprises that arrive without warning. Surprises that break the pattern of your struggle. Surprises that bend timelines. Surprises that reconnect you with people who carry what you need. Surprises that come through the ministry of men. When God appoints someone to lift you financially, their presence becomes an answer you did not expect but deeply needed. There are people whose entry into your life will settle problems instantly. People with insight, resources, and compassion. People who carry keys to open doors you could not open alone. People who see your value and decide to support your rise. Their interest is not random. Their generosity is not accidental. Their timing is not a coincidence. They are sent, assigned, released for your sake. Provision is not always salary. Sometimes it is a person. Sometimes it is a connection. Sometimes it is a phone call. Sometimes it is a partnership. Sometimes it is the right investor, the right mentor, the right collaborator. When the season shifts, God orchestrates alignments that money alone cannot buy. And when these alignments arrive, they rewrite your financial story. Your life is entering a chapter where financial shame will not follow you. The pressure of scarcity will not define your decisions. The anxiety of how to sustain tomorrow will not overshadow your peace. Increase will not come with fear. Provision will not come with battles that cancel it. The blessing will stay. The opportunities will grow. The wisdom will multiply. The favor will remain. Every area of insufficiency that weighed on you is receiving divine attention. Every financial burden that silently drained your joy is being lifted. Every lingering debt that stretched your strength is losing its grip. Every closed door that limited your progress is opening with clarity. You will not only experience financial freedom, you will experience stability. You will experience ease. You will experience divine support that strengthens your journey. And before this chapter closes, God ordained surprises will find you. Not one, not small, not symbolic. Real answers, real help, real provision, real opportunities, real open doors. Your hands will gather, your plans will rise, your dreams will breathe, and your steps will enter the season where financial deliverance becomes the foundation for everything God is building through you. There are people whose presence carries the weight of a nation. When they stand behind you, mountains move. When they hold your hands, burdens lose their strength. When they speak your name, doors that resisted you begin to bow. Helpers are not ordinary individuals. They are carriers of capacity, influence, wisdom, and resources. Their involvement in your life is not coincidence. It is divine engineering. No destiny rises without the ministry of men. Some dreams remain trapped in potential because the right person has not yet appeared. Some doors stay shut because the voice assigned to announce you has not yet spoken. Some opportunities remain distant because the person carrying the key has not yet entered your path. Destiny helpers are more than supporters. They are alignment points. When they appear, progress accelerates in ways effort alone could never achieve. There are helpers who carry a mantle of lifting. When they come into your life, they bring structure, clarity, and strength. There are helpers who carry the grace of endorsement. When they affirm you, others, listen, there are helpers who hold resources that match your assignment. When they invest in you, two things you struggled with for years resolve in days. These people do not arrive by luck. They arrive by timing. When your season shifts, heaven touches the hearts of the right individuals and assigns them to your rising. Not everyone is meant to play this role. Some may like you, but liking is not the same as being assigned. Destiny helpers are chosen by purpose. They are drawn by divine prompting. They notice what others ignore. They are stirred by what others overlook. And when the mantle of honor rests on your life, they begin to recognize your value without needing an explanation. Honor attracts the right eyes. It positions you in the correct direction of attention. It makes people perceive your worth accurately. It removes the cloud that hides your significance. When honor rests on a person, their presence commands respect. Even in places where they were once ignored, their ideas gain weight. Their voice gains force. Their identity carries credibility. Some of you know what it feels like to be hardworking yet unrecognized, to be gifted yet underestimated, to be prepared yet unnoticed, to have capacity but no platform. This is not because you lack what it takes. It is because honor had not yet announced you. Honor is what shifts perception. Honor is what removes unnecessary battles. Honor is what makes the right people see you at the right time. There are helpers who passed by you earlier in life but never noticed you because honor had not yet rested on you. There were conversations where your name should have been mentioned, but it remained silent because honor had not yet spoken on your behalf. Doors that should have opened remained closed because honor had not yet prepared the atmosphere. When the mantle of honor rises, everything that was blind to your presence gains sight. Men like nations are different. They carry solutions to entire seasons of your life. Their presence compresses years into moments. Their support shifts your trajectory. Their partnership breaks cycles. Their endorsement introduces you into circles you could never access alone. When they stand behind you, their influence becomes your foundation. They are not ordinary men. They are prophetic answers. Some helpers are sent to lift you financially. Some are sent to defend your character. Some are sent to mentor your process. Some are sent to open strategic doors. Some are sent to restore what life drained from you. Some are sent to create room for your voice. All of them are part of the design of your rising. No destiny reaches its fullness alone. There is a level of progress that does not respond to effort. It responds to alignment. There is a level of influence that does not respond to prayer alone. It responds to the right relationships. And there is a level of honor that does not come from seeking attention, but from being positioned by grace in the sight of those who matter. When divine timing converges, helpers begin to move without being pushed. People who were far begin to draw near with purpose. Individuals you could not reach begin to reach for you. Their interest is unusual. Their generosity is unexpected. Their commitment is immediate. This is the evidence that the mantle of honor has begun its work. Honor removes trouble from recognition. Honor makes people interpret your life correctly. Honor gives weight to your identity. Honor turns attention into access. Honor converts connection into opportunity. And when honor rests on your head, helpers feel compelled to stand with you even when they do not fully understand why. Every destiny helper assigned to your next level begins to sense your name. Every person carrying a key connected to your advancement begins to feel divine prompting. Every individual ordained to walk with you in this season begins to awaken to your presence. And as honor settles, circles that once ignored you will begin to open without resistance. You are stepping into a chapter where you will not chase visibility. Visibility will locate you. Where you will not beg for support, support will rise toward you. Where you will not struggle for acceptance, acceptance will speak for you. The right men will come. Men like nations, men with weight, men with insight, men with resources, men with compassion, men with influence. Men whose presence unlocks what years of effort could not touch. Every delay that kept your helpers distant loses its force. Every veil that hid your value dissolves. Every limitation around your rising breaks. The mantle of honor rests. The ministry of men aligns, and your destiny steps into the hands of those ordained to lift it with precision and grace. Every family has a first, a person who rises beyond the boundaries set by those before them, a person who walks paths no one in the bloodline has ever walked, a person who becomes the evidence that a new chapter has begun. These are pioneers. They carry breakthrough in their spirit. They carry transition in their assignment. They carry the burden of opening doors that were closed for generations. And this position is both an honor and a battle. Pioneers are marked by uncommon pressure. When you carry the destiny of being the first to rise, you also confront battles others never faced. You confront altars built long before your birth. You confront patterns that have existed for decades. You confront spiritual resistance attached to a lineage that never expected greatness to emerge from it. Being a pioneer is not ordinary. It is warfare with purpose. Some families have patterns that feel impossible to break. Patterns of limitation. Patterns of premature loss. Patterns of financial cycles that reset every few years. Patterns where no one reaches stability. Patterns where no one completes what they start. patterns where marriages collapse, dreams fracture, or health declines. These are not coincidences. These are signatures of ancient altars speaking against advancement. An altar is not just a structure. It is a spiritual system. It is a voice that claims ownership over patterns. A voice that calls back any person who tries to rise beyond a certain point. A voice that tries to pull pioneers into the same history that swallowed those before them. And if this voice is not broken, it repeats itself in every generation like a script written long ago. But every pioneer carries an opposite sound. A sound that breaks old foundations. A sound that challenges ancient claims. A sound that opens doors never opened before. The fact that you feel resistance is not a sign you are weak. It is a sign you carry the grace to end what others could not end. You are not wrestling because you are cursed. You are wrestling because you are chosen. There are people listening to this who know deep inside that something in their family line shifts because of them. You feel the weight of responsibility. You feel the unusual battles. You feel the strange pressure over your progress. You sense that your rising attracts more resistance than seems reasonable. This is the evidence that you stand at the doorway of generational transition. Every new door requires someone to confront the old one. Every new path requires someone to break the old path. Every rising requires someone to silence the altars that previously held the family captive. And when judgment comes to these altars, it does not come in silence. It comes with clarity. It comes with force. It comes with finality. Evil altars operate through cycles. They keep families going in circles instead of moving forward. You see progress, and then something pulls you back. You see opportunities, then something interrupts them. You see relationships forming, then something causes them to collapse. You see provision gathering, then something drains it. These cycles repeat until a pioneer steps in and declares that enough is enough. There are altars that respond to fear. There are altars that respond to loss. There are altars that respond to repeated disappointment. They use emotional wounds as entry points. They walk through familiar patterns. They try to convince you that history cannot change. But pioneers do not submit to history. Pioneers interrupt it. When judgment rises against evil altars, old cycles break under the weight of divine authority. The altars that claimed your bloodline lose their foundation. The voices that followed your family collapse under the sound of new order. The claims that stood for generations become powerless. This is not a gentle shift. This is a decisive overthrow of every spiritual system that stood against your emergence. You are not just rising for yourself. You are rising as a door opener. Doors that remained shut for decades begin to respond because of you. Doors that resisted your parents and grandparents begin to open under your feet. Doors that seemed unreachable become accessible. And the moment a pioneer enters a new door, everyone connected to them gains permission to enter as well. Your victory becomes a doorway. Your breakthrough becomes a blueprint. Your rising becomes a testimony of what is possible. The family line that once stopped at a certain level begins to advance because you step through. Your courage rewrites the story. Your obedience shifts the foundation. Your faith breaks the ceiling. And your presence pushes the next generation higher. Some people fear the weight of being the first. They fear the pressure. They fear the responsibility. But what they often forget is that pioneers are not alone. They are backed by divine strength. They are carried by grace. They are supported by angels. They are covered by favor. And they are surrounded by the authority needed to break the old. Judgment against evil altars is not vengeance driven by emotion. It is justice enforcing destiny. Every altar that feeds stagnation is judged. Every altar that consumes progress is judged. Every altar that steals potential is judged. Every altar that commands backwardness is judged. Every altar that stood against your family is judged. This judgment is final. The cycle ends here. As the pioneer rises, the atmosphere around them shifts. Strange battles disappear. Repeated losses stop. Delays lose their grip. The old fights no longer reappear. The ground stops pulling you backward. Movement becomes natural. Progress becomes steady. Victory becomes consistent. And the momentum of your destiny becomes unstoppable. You are stepping into territory no one before you entered. You are touching levels no one in your bloodline touched. You are reaching platforms your family has never seen. You are breaking ceilings they could not break. The grace on you is not ordinary. The path you walk is not familiar. You are the first for a reason. And as you rise, in the sound of judgment moves behind you, silencing every voice that once controlled the narrative of your family. The doors opening for you will remain open. The ground beneath you is cleared. The altars against you are silent. And the destiny ahead of you is free from the chains of the past. Identity shapes destiny. A person can be anointed, gifted, and full of potential. Yet, if their inner identity is weak, their life remains smaller than it was designed to be. The way you see yourself determines what you allow, what you pursue, what you resist, and what you rise above. Heaven can open doors, but if identity remains wounded, the person may never walk through them. That is why identity declarations are not motivational phrases. They are spiritual alignments. They are the restoration of truth to a heart shaped by battle. There are moments when life tries to convince you that you are less than what God made you. Moments when repeated disappointments create a subtle narrative of inadequacy. Moments when failure whispers that maybe you are not capable. Moments when betrayal suggests you are not worthy. Moments when rejection tries to redefine your value. These moments leave fingerprints on identity. And if these fingerprints remain unchallenged, they become silent limitations. Identity must be spoken. It must be declared. It must be affirmed in the face of contradiction. Declarations are not for show. They are for alignment. They anchor you in truth when emotions shift. They stabilize you when circumstances shake. They silence lies that try to rise from old wounds. Every time you declare who you are in God, you are peeling away layers of falsehood that life tried to wrap around you. Prayer fire strengthens identity. It shapes conviction. It stirs authority. It sharpens discernment. When a person builds a consistent prayer life, their inner world becomes fortified. Their inner voice stops trembling. Their decisions stop wavering. Their confidence stops depending on external approval. Prayer fire makes you unmovable from the inside out. It engraves identity into your spirit until doubt becomes powerless. Some of you have known seasons where prayer felt distant. Your heart was tired. Your voice was quiet. Your strength was thin. Yet even in that silence, something inside you longed to return. That longing was the ember of your identity refusing to die. Now that the fire is rising again, that ember becomes flame. And as that flame grows, every area of your life begins to respond. Clarity increases, strength settles, courage rises. Identity becomes whole. Identity does not function in isolation. It influences the covering you provide for those connected to you. Family covering is not only physical protection, it is spiritual leadership. It is the ability to stand in prayer with authority for those who share your name, your bloodline, your legacy. Parents who pray shape the future of their children. Siblings who intercede change the story of their home. A person who carries spiritual covering becomes a shield no darkness can ignore. Some families suffered losses because no one prayed. Some faced repeated patterns because no one rose to confront them. Some battled storms because no one stood in the gap. But when one person awakens, when one person takes responsibility for spiritual covering, the entire atmosphere of a household shifts. Attacks lose accuracy, delays lose power, patterns break, peace enters, alignment begins. Identity declarations empower you to stand not only for yourself, but for your house. When you affirm who you are, you rise with the strength needed to protect those who depend on you. Your voice becomes a spiritual boundary. Your presence becomes a barrier to darkness. Your prayer becomes a wall around your home. Family covering is not a duty, it is a mantle. And when a person carries it, the weight of their authority becomes a shield that stretches across generations. Some of you are the spiritual pillars in your homes. Even if no one has ever said it aloud, you are the one who senses when something is off. You are the one who carries burden when others feel nothing. You are the one who prays when others sleep. You are the one who stands when others break. You are the one who pushes when others surrender. This is not weakness. This is calling. The strength you carry is the evidence of your assignment. Identity must be restored so that your voice carries force. Prayer fire must rise so that your declarations carry precision. Family covering must be active so that no voice in darkness can touch what God placed under your responsibility. You are not small in the spiritual realm. You are not silent. You are not powerless. The authority resting on you is recognized by everything that moves in the invisible. Your declarations matter. Speak over your mind. Speak over your heart. Speak over your calling. Speak over your hands. Speak over your path. Speak over your destiny. Identity grows each time truth is spoken. Prayer fire grows each time your spirit engages. Family covering grows each time you stand between your household and any force that seeks to arise against it. You are stepping into a season where identity becomes unshakable. You will no longer define yourself by past wounds. You will no longer shrink under the memory of old failures. You will no longer carry the names people placed on you in their moments of anger or ignorance. Your identity will be rooted in the truth of who you are, not the history of what you endured. Your prayer life will not return to weakness. It will rise into fire. You will carry clarity, consistency, and strength. You will hear direction with accuracy. You will discern traps before they form. You will sense danger long before it reaches your environment. Your prayers will build walls. Your words will shape seasons. Your faith will influence outcomes. Your family will not be left uncovered. The battles that touch earlier generations will not touch yours. The confusion that hovered over your household will dissipate. The patterns that troubled your lineage will break. Your children, your siblings, your household will walk under a covering built by your authority and sustained by your devotion. Darkness will not write their story. Identity settles. Prayer rises. Covering strengthens. You walk into the next chapter not as someone surviving the past, but as someone equipped for the future. What rests on you from here will define the atmosphere of every room you enter and every life connected to yours. Words create atmospheres. Words shape futures. Words open gates. and words can also shut them. Many of the battles people face are not physical and not emotional. They are words that were spoken, seeds that were planted, declarations that were released in moments of anger, envy, frustration, or ignorance. These words take shape in the unseen and begin to influence outcomes long after the speaker forgets what they said. This is the power of negative programming. There are people who walk through life carrying the weight of sentences spoken years ago. A parent spoke in anger. A teacher mocked a mistake. A friend used painful language. A leader misjudged your potential. Even you, in a moment of exhaustion, may have spoken defeat over your own life. These words do not always disappear. Some of them try to grow roots. Negative programming happens when the soul internalizes words that oppose its destiny. It happens when you begin to expect failure because someone once predicted it. It happens when you shrink because someone once belittled you. It happens when your decisions are shaped not by truth, but by the residue of old conversations. This is why some patterns repeat. The words became a script, and the script became a cycle. Scorching tongues are worse. These are words spoken with intention to harm. Words charged with envy, bitterness, or resentment. Words that rise like arrows and try to pierce the atmosphere of your destiny. Some of these tongues belong to strangers. Some belong to people who once smiled with you. Some belong to people who did not want your rising to outshine their comfort, no matter their source. Scorching tongues carry spiritual fire, and that fire tries to burn the path ahead. But hear this truth. No word spoken against your destiny has the authority to outlive the mercy of God. No curse, no insult, no sentence, no declaration of failure can remain operational when divine alignment steps in. What was spoken does not have the final word. What was planted does not have the final power. What was declared does not have the final authority. Every negative programming can be cancelled. Every scorching tongue can be silenced. Some of you felt the effect of these words without understanding the cause. You worked hard, but progress kept slipping. You took steps forward, but setbacks kept pulling you back. You made plans, but confusion kept interrupting them. You had opportunities, but something always seemed to weaken them before they matured. The battle was not in your skill. It was in the atmosphere shaped by words. There were times you spoke carelessly about yourself. Times you declared that nothing works. Times you said you were tired of trying. Times you called yourself a failure. Times you labeled your own destiny in frustration. These words did not reflect who you truly are. They reflected the exhaustion of a weary heart. Yet even such words try to influence the future if they remain unbroken. There were others who spoke over you, not knowing the weight their words carried. A parent who called you problematic, a partner who said you would never rise, a friend who predicted your downfall, a mentor who doubted your capacity, a stranger who cursed you out of jealousy. These words created shadows, and you felt those shadows without understanding their origin. But this is the moment where shadows lose their right. This is where every negative programming collapses under the authority of divine truth. This is where the future you accidentally shaped with frustration is rewritten. This is where every careless declaration you made under pressure is cancelled. This is where every scorching tongue that tried to rise against you becomes silent like dust beneath your feet. Curses do not break by ignoring them. They break by confronting them with higher truth. Every word that rises against your destiny must face the truth of who God made you to be. Every sentence spoken against your journey must face the authority of your new declaration. Every negative expectation planted in your mind must bow to the clarity of divine identity. You are not cursed. You are not limited. You are not bound to repeat the failures of the past. You are not imprisoned by the opinions of others. You are not tied to the careless language of yesterday. Destiny does not submit to insult. Purpose does not respond to mockery. The future is not written by those who spoke in anger. The future is shaped by what God has already established and what you now activate with your own words. Your voice carries more authority over your life than any voice that rose against you. When you speak truth, lies break. When you speak blessing, curses dissolve. When you speak identity, confusion weakens. When you speak alignment, chaos loses its influence. There is no darkness that can resist consistent declaration of truth. There is no curse that can withstand a renewed mind. You will no longer walk under the residue of old language. You will no longer carry the marks of insults spoken years ago. You will no longer respond to the voice of failure. You will no longer be shaped by the memory of negative sentences. Everything spoken against your destiny, knowingly or unknowingly, is cancelled. Everything that rose against your name is silenced. Everything that tried to program defeat is uprooted. Your future is rewritten with strength. Your identity is reinforced with truth. Your journey is wrapped in blessing. Your atmosphere is cleansed. Your mind is renewed. Your spirit is free. The scorching tongues lose their fire. The negative programming loses its script. The words that once shaped battles become powerless. And from this moment forward, your destiny responds only to truth, only to alignment, only to the voice of God speaking through your renewed declaration. Some seasons of life feel like standing in front of closed doors. You knock, but nothing moves. You apply, but nothing responds. You stretch your hands toward opportunities, yet they slip like mist between your fingers. Closed doors are not always signs of lack. Sometimes they are signs of interference. Sometimes they are signs of timing. Sometimes they are signs of battles you cannot see. But no matter the cause, closed doors are not permanent realities. They are temporary stakes awaiting divine intervention. Doors represent access. They represent opportunities. They represent the next level of your assignment. A door opening is not simply a blessing. It is an invitation into a new dimension. Some people stay stuck because the doors meant to usher them forward remain sealed. Yet when heaven touches a door, it does not open halfway. It swings with force. It removes resistance. It dismantles barriers. It draws the person inside without struggle. Many listening have faced repeated closed doors this year. You applied for jobs that matched your skill, yet silence followed. You reached out to opportunities that should have favored you, yet no response came. You prepared for collaborations that dissolved without explanation. These were not failures. They were spiritual obstructions. And when obstructions break, what resisted you before begins to recognize you without hesitation. The realm of opportunity responds to divine timing. When the timing was not right, doors remained locked to protect you. When the enemy interfered, doors closed to shield you. But when alignment arrives, the same doors that resisted will open with clarity. You are entering a season where openings will not be random. They will be precise, they will be strategic, they will be timely, and they will be undeniable. Jobs that seem out of reach will become available. Companies that ignored your presence will look again. Skills you once undervalued will attract attention. Opportunities that bypassed you will turn back. You will not simply find a job. You will find placement. Placement is not employment. Placement is divine positioning in the environment where your gift fits. Your value is recognized and your growth is nurtured. Economic lifting is not simply earning more. It is rising into a dimension where your financial life begins to match your potential. Many have carried dreams larger than their bank accounts, ideas that require resources, responsibilities that require stability, plans that require confidence. But when economic lifting comes, the pressure of insufficiency breaks. What once felt heavy becomes manageable. What once felt impossible becomes realistic. What once felt distant becomes reachable. Economic lifting comes in waves. For some, it begins with new doors. For others, it begins with strategic relationships. For some, it begins with the wisdom to shift career paths. For others, it begins with opportunities that highlight existing skills. But for every person aligned with this word, lifting will come with clarity. You will not rise into confusion. You will rise into direction. There are people who lost opportunities this year, lost contracts, lost relationships with financial relevance, lost stability, lost investments, lost access to people who once supported you, lost ground in areas where you previously had momentum. Some losses were caused by human decisions, some by unexpected circumstances, some by spiritual interference. But loss does not have the authority to close your story. What was stolen can return. What was taken can be restored. What slipped away can reappear in multiplied form. Restoration is not simply giving back what was lost. It is returning it with interest. It is recovering the time, the peace, the confidence, and the opportunities attached to what was taken. When God restores, He does not return fragments. He returns fullness. He does not return scattered pieces. He returns complete cycles. He does not return what you had. He returns better than what you lost. Some of you lost financial stability this year. Others lost favor in circles where you once had influence. Others lost trusted opportunities because of misunderstandings. Others lost time due to delays and setbacks. But restoration is already moving. You will see the return in ways that carry clarity. You will not wonder if it is restoration. You will recognize it instantly. There are seasons when what was taken must return through people. Someone remembers you. Someone finds your contact. Someone reopens an old conversation. Someone revisits an opportunity that was paused. Someone reaches out with unexpected favor. And suddenly, what you lost returns in a new form. Not as compensation, but as correction. There are losses that return through open doors. A job that replaces the one you lost. A contract that matches what slipped away. A new opportunity that carries the same weight as the old one but with better terms. A fresh alignment that recovers the momentum you felt fading. These are not coincidences. They are divine restoration moves. There are losses that return through clarity. Decisions you regretted will be rewritten through new options. Mistakes that drained your resources will be corrected by unexpected provision. Poor decisions will be overshadowed by wise breakthroughs. Even your missteps will be redeemed. Every door meant for you that remained closed is opening. Every job meant for you that was blocked is returning. Every form of economic lifting assigned to your journey begins to rise. Every stolen opportunity is being recalled. Every stolen moment is being redeemed. Every stolen advantage is being restored. Nothing that belongs to your next season will stay behind. Nothing that was taken from your hands will remain missing. Nothing that resisted your rising will keep its position. The doors open. The jobs align, the economic lifting continues, and the restoration begins to unfold with precision, with clarity, and with undeniable grace. There are seasons in life when time feels like an enemy. You look back and see gaps where progress should have been. You see years that seem to pass without reward. You see opportunities that slipped away while you were fighting battles no one understood. You see roads you could not take because circumstances blocked the way. And quietly, deep inside, you wonder if too much time has been lost to ever recover what was meant for you. Time does not destroy destiny, but delay can make destiny feel distant. Some people lost years to survival. Some lost years to cycles of confusion. Some lost years because the right door stayed closed. Some lost years because they kept pouring into places that never recognized their value. Some lost years because of relationships that drained more than they gave. And others lost years simply because life brought storms that demanded all their strength. But hear this clearly. God does not restore moments. He restores seasons. He restores cycles. He restores capacity. He restores momentum. And when he restores years, it is not symbolic, it is literal. What should have happened begins to unfold rapidly. What you missed begins to return multiplied. What was delayed begins to accelerate. Restoration is not comfort. Restoration is justice. There are opportunities that passed you by because you were not yet visible. There are opportunities you could not take because you did not have the resources. There are opportunities you had to decline because your life was under pressure. And there are opportunities you never even saw because the atmosphere around you was not aligned. These moments do not vanish. They wait. And when restoration comes, and they return in forms that fit your new season. Some of you will step into opportunities that feel strangely familiar, as if they were meant for you years ago. Some will meet people who should have entered your life earlier but are appearing now because the timing is perfect. Some will receive invitations that match dreams you abandoned. Some will find that doors once closed now swing open without explanation. Restoration does not simply give you back what you lost. It gives you what you would have gained if nothing had been lost. Restoration also touches identity. You regain confidence you thought would never return. You regain strength that pain tried to drain. You regain hope that repeated setbacks tried to bury. Restoration touches the inner world first, because inner restoration prepares you to hold what outer restoration brings. A restored heart recognizes opportunity. A restored mind discerns timing. A restored spirit carries gratitude rather than fear. There are people who serve God this year with sincerity, even when nothing changed on the outside. They kept praying while waiting for answers. They remained faithful while carrying private battles. They stayed committed when circumstances whispered that it was pointless. They held on to integrity when shortcuts seemed easier. And sometimes they wondered quietly if their devotion mattered. But everything in the spiritual realm was recording their faithfulness. It pays to serve Jesus. It pays in ways the natural mind cannot measure. It pays in protection you did not see. It pays in doors you were not aware were being held open. It pays in battles you never had to fight because grace fought ahead of you. It pays in opportunities preserved for the right moment. It pays in strength you gained without noticing. It pays in wisdom you collected in silence. And soon, it will pay in visible testimonies. Your devotion is not wasted. Your obedience is not forgotten. Your sacrifices are not ignored. Your consistency is not invisible. Everything you did in faith was stored like seed in the soil of time. And when the season shifts, the harvest rises with force. Some testimonies come gradually. Others arrive suddenly. As if heaven decided that the time for waiting is over. There will be moments where the outcome appears so quickly that you will struggle to understand how everything changed. Breakthroughs that arrive without warning. Opportunities that settle without delay. Relationships that align without effort. These moments are not coincidence. They are the proof that serving Jesus carries tangible results. The same way seeds break the soil after seasons of silence, your harvest will rise after seasons of endurance. Some proofs will come through restoration of finances, some through restored relationships, some through renewed strength in your health, some through clarity of purpose, some through sudden open doors, some through breakthroughs in areas where you felt stuck for years. Every area of your life that suffered loss becomes a target for restoration. Years that seem stolen will be replaced with seasons of acceleration. Opportunities that felt gone forever will return dressed in new form. Dreams that felt too late will reawaken with fresh pathways. And the scars of the past will become reminders of how far you have come, not reminders of what you lost. Restoration carries a signature. When it appears, it brings peace, it brings clarity, it brings alignment, it brings unexpected partnerships, it brings answers you did not know were still possible, and it brings the undeniable sense that God has remembered you. Your life will not remain a story of delays. It will become a story of recovery. It will become a story of redeemed years. It will become a story of second chances that feel like first ones. It will become a story that proves it pays to love Jesus. It pays to trust him. It pays to follow him. Even when you walk through seasons that feel quiet, the proof will appear. The restoration will manifest. The opportunities will align. And the years that once looked wasted will rise again as seasons filled with purpose, strength, and multiplied reward. A nation carries a spiritual heartbeat. When that heartbeat weakens, everything within its borders begins to feel the strain. The economy grows heavy. Leadership becomes burdened. Families feel pressure. Young people feel lost. Even the atmosphere shifts. Nations do not collapse in a day, and they do not rise in a day. They are shaped by voices that pray, voices that intercede, voices that stand as shields when darkness attempts to rise. Nigeria has walked through seasons of tension, moments where fear moved from city to city, moments where uncertainty clouded the minds of families, moments where crime gained boldness, moments where corruption seemed louder than truth, moments where people wondered if help would ever come. These moments leave marks on the spirit of a nation, but no darkness is strong enough to sustain itself when intercession rises. Intercession lifts a country when strength fails. It calls for divine intervention in places where human effort has reached its limit. It creates atmospheres where wisdom begins to flow to leaders. It calms storms that threaten the stability of society. It breaks patterns of violence and evil that try to establish themselves as normal. Intercession is not weakness. It is a force that bends the direction of history. Nigeria stands at a point where the cry of the righteous matters, not out of fear, but out of responsibility. Not out of hopelessness, but out of conviction. When a nation reaches this kind of moment, the prayers of those who see beyond the surface become the lifeline holding the land together. Every country that has ever risen into stability was carried on the back of voices that refuse to remain silent in prayer. There are forces that profit from instability, forces that feed on disorder, forces that thrive when confusion spreads. These forces push for moments of chaos because chaos gives them room to operate. Yet no force in darkness can remain unchallenged when the spiritual climate shifts, when the light rises. Shadows lose their courage when truth strengthens. Deception weakens. The phrase season of vengeance is not about aggression. It is about divine justice. It is about exposing what hides. It is about halting activities that harm the innocent. It is about stopping cycles of destruction that have lingered for too long. When God sets a time for justice, everything that takes advantage of the land begins to lose power. Everything that has operated in secrecy begins to be revealed. Everything that held the nation in tension begins to scatter. This kind of season carries a different atmosphere. Crime becomes unsettled. Wickedness becomes uncomfortable. Plans formed in hidden corners lose coordination. Those who manipulate systems find their influence weakening. And those who genuinely desire the good of the nation begin to gain unusual boldness. This is divine alignment, not human retaliation. Leaders who have carried burdens too heavy for their strength begin to receive inner clarity. Government institutions that struggled with confusion begin to gain direction. Law enforcement gains accuracy and courage. Voices of integrity rise with influence. These are not political shifts. They are signs that a nation is beginning to breathe again. A week of vengeance is a period where heaven addresses what people cannot, where cycles that resisted progress begin to lose their claim, where wickedness is deprived of the ability to function, where those who harm communities find their plans frustrated, where the innocent experience protection that is beyond natural explanation. Justice in this sense is not vindictive. It is restorative. It resets balance. Every nation has a destiny. Nigeria carries potential that has been recognized across the world for decades. A population full of strength, a land full of resources, a people full of innovation, a culture full of resilience. What has held the nation back has never been lack. It has been conflict between destiny and darkness. And when intercession rises, destiny gains ground. A praying people become a wall. Their words create boundaries in the spirit. Their faith becomes a shield over cities. Their unity becomes a wind that pushes out what threatens the land. Nigeria has survived storms that should have broken it because prayers were standing quietly in the background. The nation still stands because intercession refused to fall. As this spiritual shift deepens, old patterns of instability will break. Cycles of fear will weaken. Systems built on corruption will lose the strength they once enjoyed. Communities will experience pockets of peace that feel supernatural. Individuals who once felt hopeless will begin to sense direction. And most importantly, the nation will begin to rise into a stability that reflects the prayer spoken over it. This season marks a turning point, not because problems disappear instantly, but because the spiritual atmosphere shifts. Darkness loses its advantage, light gains territory. And the nation begins to align with a future that generations have prayed to see. Nigeria will not fall. Nigeria will not collapse. Nigeria will not drown under its pressures. The land will see intervention. The government will see strengthening. The security forces will gain effectiveness. The economy will find breath. And the people will witness proofs that heaven has not forgotten their cry. The week of vengeance clears the path. The prayers of the righteous secure it. And the destiny written over the nation begins to stand with strength that no opposition can overturn. There is a moment in every spiritual journey where what has been spoken must be sealed. Not repeated, not revisited, but sealed. Sealing is the act of drawing a line in the spirit so the blessing cannot be stolen. the progress cannot be reversed. And the testimony cannot be diluted. A sealed word becomes a permanent reality. A sealed blessing becomes protected territory. And a sealed destiny becomes untouchable. The prophetic exchange begins here. Exchange is the spiritual transaction where you release what wounded you and receive what was always meant for you. Every part of this journey has been building to this moment. You walked through release. You confronted delay. You broke ancestral patterns. You tore veils. You healed hidden wounds. You watched prophecy move from sight to manifestation. You reclaimed honor. You rose into breakthrough. Now the exchange must happen. You drop shame and pick up honor. You drop fear and pick up courage. You drop stagnation and pick up momentum. You drop loss and pick up restoration. You drop heaviness and pick up joy. You drop confusion and pick up clarity. Nothing leaves your hands without something greater entering them. This is the divine pattern. This is the prophetic exchange. Prosperity in the kingdom is not excess without purpose. It is provision with assignment. It is the ability to live without the humiliation of lack. It is the strength to fulfill your calling without financial chains. It is the dignity of walking through life with stability, with peace, and with confidence. Prosperity is not pride. Prosperity is alignment. When resources match the size of your destiny, everything moves differently. Honor is the covering that ensures prosperity does not attract destruction. Honor positions you before the right people. Honor gives weight to your name. Honor preserves relationships that matter. Honor draws helpers without manipulation. Honor turns influence into impact. A person with prosperity but without honor suffers. A person with honor but without prosperity is limited. When both rest on your life, doors open and remain open. The grace to prosper with dignity is a rare mantle. It is the ability to rise without arrogance, to increase without losing identity, to be blessed without becoming careless, to walk in abundance without forgetting responsibility. Dignity is spiritual maturity expressed in daily living. It is standing tall without trampling others, rising high without forgetting the ground you walked, and succeeding without losing compassion. This grace will follow you. Some blessings lift a person financially but weaken them in character. This is not your portion. Some breakthroughs open doors but damage relationships. This will not be your story. Some opportunities elevate but erase humility. This will not touch your life. The grace resting on you produces success that does not destroy, increase that does not intoxicate, and elevation that does not isolate. Your future will not carry the embarrassment of begging. You will not stretch your hands into tomorrow with anxiety. You will not walk into the new season feeling unprepared. The dignity of stable provision will accompany you. The confidence of steady progress will strengthen you. The peace of knowing resources will meet your assignments, will steady your steps. Every seed you sowed in pain will return in abundance. Every sacrifice you made quietly will echo loudly in your rising. Every hidden act of kindness will return as unexpected favor. Every prayer whispered through tears will return as undeniable testimony. Nothing righteous goes unrewarded. Nothing faithful goes unnoticed. The season of answered prayer has begun around you. As this final seal rests on your life, your atmosphere changes. Old patterns cannot return. Old fears cannot shape decisions. Old losses cannot define your mindset. Your days will not mirror your battles. Your future will not resemble your pain. You are stepping into a path where prosperity flows without shame. Honor rests without interruption. And dignity becomes part of your identity. Your hands will handle provision with wisdom. Your steps will carry authority without pride. Your relationships will grow under the weight of honor. Your decisions will carry the grace of clarity. Your voice will hold influence that blesses and uplifts. And your rising will testify of the goodness that has followed you from the beginning of this journey. Since we stand at the closing movement of this story, let this moment carry a wish from the depth of the message itself. May every blessing that was activated in these parts find a permanent home in your life. May every word that touched your spirit become a living reality. May every promise you held on to become visible. May the next season of your journey carry the ease, grace, and dignity you have longed for. And may your life, in quiet strength, prove that faithfulness is never wasted and that every step with God leads into days worth remembering.